Ladies and gentlemen, live, another Facebook Live today. What a beautiful day, too, especially who we're talking to today. She's from the center energy vortex of the universe, right, Briana? In
Yeah.
in Sedona. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Briana Shires from Sedona. Now,
Hi
Briana,
guys.
yeah, awesome stuff. And I love Sedona. Every time I go there, I take a picture, and it always gets the most even right from the parking lot of the office. You look out there, and it's an
Yeah.
incredible view, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, okay, so we have people from Nevada and California on here, and so just tell them a little about yourself, how long you've been doing this before we get into the goodies.
Okay. I'm Brianna and I have had my license for going on 5 years now. I started out as an unlicensed assistant and I really enjoyed it. So I went ahead and got my license and became a transaction coordinator. So I did that for a couple of years for a large team, and that was a really great experience. I totally learned forms and contract and how to even work with clients that way. I got a lot of great training under them. And I worked with Nasreen Holly a couple times through that team. And she really encouraged me to try to step out on my own and to come over to Berkshire with her. And so I did. So that was the end of 2019. And I've been here working as an agent in Sedona ever since.
That's awesome. Yes, that Nazreen, she's definitely an independent, strong person. There's no question about that. So good for you. I'm glad she talked you into doing that. But before I ask you the question that I really want to ask you about that, tell them you were, you worked as you worked as a non-licensed assistant, then you went full transaction coordinator. How was that?
Yeah, it was really good. I saw how many things I wasn't able to do without my license. And so I felt like it was going to be beneficial to me and to the team if I could go ahead and get it. I wasn't expecting to love real estate and to love the business like I did. So that was a really nice surprise.
Mhm.
But yeah, the workload was crazy different. It was definitely an adjustment, but their team kind of grew as I got more experience. So it was kind of a good setup.
That's great. That's great. And now be honest. You said to yourself, "Oh my God, I'm working for some of these agents. If they can do this job and this kind of money, I bet you I could kill it." It's the advantage of
Yeah,
being in the studio. I have my own people that'll laugh. Thank you, Paul.
I love it. Yeah, it was a little bit scary to think about going out on my own and, being a mom and stuff. You worry about how much time is going to be taken up by your business, but it's worked out beautifully. It's just been the perfect gig for me.
Obviously, because Nizreen talked you into going solo, right, on your own, which is great. And you were a little scared. You mentioned, and you set a goal
Mhm.
of doing 12, and you actually failed miserably and went way over that goal.
Yes, I did. Yeah, 2020 was a good year for real estate.
Yeah, even with that, like, what would you like, 2.5, 3 months? I don't know how it was in Sedona, but here it was about a 2.5, 3 months where it was probably between 50 and 70% what it normally would be, and then just got right back into gear.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely what we saw too.
All right, cool. So tell us about that. So you wanted to do one a month, and you actually went over. Tell us how that happened. I mean, what happened? How did you do that? That's pretty good, by the way. And your average sale price is about 500,000. So do the math. You
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it was a great year. I don't exactly know how I did it, honestly. I went to a couple of the Canva classes and I definitely made sure that I built up all of my social platforms so that everybody, at least within my sphere, knew what I was doing and I was kind of in front of them. And I think that helped a lot, especially because I've had my license for a while and people knew that I had experience. I think that once I got out on my own and I was able to kind of market myself a little bit, people took me a lot more seriously. And I just kind of had clientele build up and fall into my lap.
Awesome. So, okay, so you said the Canva classes, right? So
Yes,
give
with
me an
Michelle.
idea. So give me an idea what that is and what kind of social media campaign you did. I think that would be helpful for them.
Okay. Yeah, so Canva is it's kind of like a graphic design cheat website that can help you make, awesome graphics for your websites. I use that for Instagram and for Facebook. And you can brand your pictures in there. And so I created my own little brand and signature. And then you can put all of your Berkshire stuff on there as well. And so I went ahead and went through those classes. I think that there were like 3 of them that we all did in a big group, and learned how to use that in Planoly so that I could auto schedule my weeks out, which I still do every single week. I sit down and I schedule out my week of social media marketing, put it all in Planoly, and it goes for me. And yeah, I think that that's worked great. It's just helped me to put things like my reviews out there for people to see, and my listings as soon as they hit the market. And they can also see, you know, as soon as I have a pending sale, I talk about it on there. So I think it helps people can see that I'm busy and that I'm doing a lot and that this is my full-time job. And I think it helps a lot.
Oh yeah, it really does. Especially that stuff really makes you like. For instance, after this interview, my assistant Sydney will be taking one of your quotes and putting it in her little Canvas setup, and that's what we use
Yeah.
for our social media as well. Now, is that when you said a bunch of you? Is that from you guys met with Matt? Did Mary do the class? Mary Sand, or how did you? Or was Patrick helping you guys?
Patrick has done a couple of them, and then I believe Fairway Mortgage did the one that I went through.
Oh, okay.
And they're some of our favorite lenders, and so they sent out an email and they had paid for us to go through it, and yeah, it was really beneficial.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good, good. And then I know that are you do you use the VAC 2.0 as part of your contact management system? Because that you can apply that all together actually.
Yes, yeah, and I do like the quarterly market updates through there, especially for people kind of in this area. I live in a subdivision, so I'm always trying to get this subdivision. So that helps and kind of send out those updates to a lot of people that I know in the neighborhood, and they can see how much their home is worth and how much other ones are selling for. And yeah, I think it's really helpful. It's really helpful to be able to put people on a buyer campaign through the VAC, and so yeah, it's been great.
That's great. Yeah, and it's all branded for you and all that stuff too. So and the information is great.
Mhm.
So you actually have a farm too, right? Because that's going to be my next question. Your lead sources. It sounds like you have your sphere down pretty well. And what are the other
Mhm.
you may use? One is a farm, I would imagine.
Yeah, so I've definitely tried to farm this area, this development for sure. And then I honestly think referrals from people in my sphere is what kept me going this year. You know, you just kind of watch your sphere grow and grow as you get their friends and their friends' friends, and you know, so and so heard that you sold their mom's house, you know, 2 years ago, and they had a great experience. And in a small town, especially, I feel like it just kind of snowballs.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So I think it's interesting because Nazreen, who's number one in the office, she's invited you and got you going,
Mhm.
and now you guys are pretty close, right? You have a little healthy competition going on there.
No, I don't come close to Nisreen. I'm happy
Uh,
with number 2.
all right, good for you. Yeah, and I'm sure she's happy to hear that too. No, I'm kidding. That's great. No, she's dynamite. Yeah. So good.
She's
So okay. So you
amazing.
you do the farm, you do your sphere, you've got social media. Anything else you want to
Mhm.
mention about how you generate business?
I think just being out in the community. I mean, with COVID, of course, that's like a completely different thing right now. But I think just having lots of different areas where you're meeting people and people get to know you and they know what you do. I mean, I feel like if people like you, they're probably, you know, apt to at least look into you and see what your reviews are like, and possibly use you. So
That's great.
I think just building up community around you is really helpful.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and Sedona itself is it gotten busy or this time of year is it busy or not really, right? This time of year?
I mean, every time you go into like the town, it's slammed.
Oh, really? Good. Yeah, it's one of the Arizona is an interesting state as far as how they handled the pandemic because it's like it didn't ever really fully close, and I think that helped a lot
Yeah.
with your real estate. Because look at it, Arizona is the number
Mhm.
two most out of all the states in this country after Texas. Arizona is the most moved to state in the country right now, and it's number one
Mhm.
appreciation. So it's an incredible market. Now Sedona is its own little market in there, but
Mhm. Yes.
second, yeah. And you guys have actually in Sedona now. You have a lot of people that live there full time, like yourself, don't you?
Mhm. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of people that live just kind of on the outskirts or right outside of Sedona also, that may work in Sedona or go there often. But yeah, there's also a lot of people who live there part-time too.
Yeah, and tell them the other towns. So if anybody has a referral, tell them the other towns you cover other than Sedona in that area.
Okay, so we've got Sedona, and then we have Camp Verde and Cornville and Clarkdale and Cottonwood that are all just kind of surrounded right there. And then we also have Rimrock.
All right, cool. So if you have if you have a referral, send it up to Brianna there. All right. So
Yep,
now my
please.
favorite question I always ask, because think about it. You probably being a transaction coordinator and doing that part of it is a hard job, especially for a team with that many transactions going on. So knowing what
Mhm.
you know now. Oh well, before I do that, last thing is you fractured your goal and you sold about what, 7 over the 12s. So you were at 19. You closed last year,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
your
I think
goal
close to there.
and your goal this year is to do what, in the mid 20s, you said, right?
Yeah, I'd like to do. I mean, I like Nasreen's line of I always want to do one more than last year because I think that's a great goal. But yes, I'd love to sell like six more than I did last year. I think that that'd be a great goal this year.
So 25 at half a million average sale price would be great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Congratulations. And it sounds like you're already on pace for that too. So keep rocking it.
yeah, it's been really good so far.
Well, that's what and this is the question people love to hear, top producers like yourself answer, and that is knowing what you know now with all your experience and how you're doing it. What would be the three most important things you tell somebody if they were new, or if somebody trying to bring their business to the next level like you? What would be the three most important things you tell them to focus on?
Okay, so the first one I would say would be to run your business with integrity. I think that the amount of character that you do your deals with really matters. I think that what you put out, comes back to you. And so I think even when it hurts, just having the utmost character and integrity is really helpful. That's the whole brand of your business right there. So I
And
think
and
that,
and, and the perfect Sedona karma/golden rule mixture.
yes, totally,
Love it. That's
totally.
perfect. All right, cool. So
Um,
keep going. So that's the first one. I love that one. Integrity. And I think with a healthy slice of karma in there. And you're right. What you give, what you're showing the world is what you're getting back. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So the next thing I would say is to get a mentor. If you are new, I cannot recommend it enough because people who have been in this business a long time, they know so much. They've seen so many things. We're constantly learning how to deal with new situations every day. And so my dad has been a real estate agent for a long time. And so I've had him. And then, I learned through the team being a transaction coordinator. And then Nisreen, brought me on and she's been my mentor since I moved over. And I just think that it's huge. I think having somebody that you trust to answer your questions and to walk you through and to teach you things is the only way that you're going to grow and become a better real estate agent without falling on your face to learn those hard lessons.
Totally. You know what? That's such an important statement to make. And sometimes I have Mark Stark obviously here, and I've had Mike
Hmm.
Ferry. And every now and then what I do is whatever book I'm reading, like Darren Hardy or Deepak
Hmm.
Chopra, they temporarily become my, while I'm reading the book, mentor too. You can do little things,
Yeah,
which I think is cool.
yeah, absolutely. And there's so many different things that you can go through. Even like the Canva stuff that we were talking about.
Right.
There's so many little individualized trainings that you can go through, and all of that is super helpful as well.
Awesome. Okay, so there's two. So what would be the third one on your list? I love it.
Okay, so my third one is organization. I have six kids, and so I have to be incredibly on top of it. Every minute of my day matters, and it needs to have a purpose, and I need to have a plan for it. And when I was back at the team managing transactions, sometimes we had 30 transactions going on at once. And if you're not organized and you don't know exactly where every single one of those transactions is at every morning when you wake up, you're in trouble. You're going to miss something. So I actually made a spreadsheet when I was with them, and I still use that today with all my transactions, just so I can wake up every morning and get my head in the game and remember where I'm at in each transaction so that I feel like I'm really engaged with my clients that way because I know, what's coming up. I can kind of give them a heads up. And then no matter how busy you get, you can go back and fall back on that.
So the organization, the spreadsheets, and so forth, it gives us a little hint of what your personality style is. Probably a little in, a little
Yeah.
out. Hey, do you
A
sometimes
little
overthink
type
it,
A.
or do you? Wow.
Oh yeah. I
I was going to say, and 6 children, you have to be organized. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly.
Yep, absolutely.
What are the age ranges? Like, what's your range there?
Our youngest one is an infant, and our oldest is 10.
Holy cow. Wow. Yeah, I just learned that. I did not know that. So you definitely, and you're selling that many homes. Congratulations. She deserves an
Thank
award, Paul.
you.
All right. So
Paul and I
awesome.
can talk later.
Yeah, exactly. Paul. Paul, you got to involve Paul. He's in here the whole time. And there he is. See? Okay, so I mean, yeah, I love what you said about that, and I think that is an incredible part of it. And with you, I mean, think about it. With what you've got going on, you have to be incredibly organized, unbelievably. Okay, now, do you sometimes, because of your personality style, would you say that you overthink things, or do you try to keep it all, super logistic and so forth?
I feel like during the day, I'm really good at just being really logical and forward, but at night, yeah, there are nights that I overthink things for sure.
Yeah, well, being, you're self-employed, you're an independent contractor, so there's a lot, because look, I've been doing this for 36 years. I was telling somebody this morning, actually, a young lady from the desert, California, Palm Desert, asked me, have you ever seen a market like this in your 36 years? I said, no, I have not. I've never seen a market where people are paying 10% over asking price cash or getting financing, wiping out financing contingencies and I've never seen that before. I've seen a small dose of that, but never to this extent. So we're in a pretty historically wonderful, time if you think about it, as long as you're taking listings, right?
Yeah, the listings are great.
Yeah, because and I was telling them, just because you have a buyer, it doesn't mean you're getting paid today. You have to be able to find them the property, prep them. Like when you work with a buyer up there, do you walk them through the whole process, like set expectations so they know what's in store?
Yeah, usually before I even show, I kind of give them an update on where the market's at. And especially if I know a property is going to go quickly, yeah, I try to give them a head up and say, we need to see this today. And if you guys like it, we need to write an offer today.
Yes.
And it's not going to be, it's probably not just going to be a list price offer. It's probably going to be above, and we're going to have to get creative.
Right. That's a very good point. You need to see it now, and you need to make an offer on it now. Anytime now is good.
Yeah.
All right. Any final words of wisdom you want to leave these wonderful people, Briana?
I don't know. I just think I just keep hustling. I think just putting all of your time and effort and energy into marketing and getting to know people and building your brand and your business is how you do it.
And it sounds like you enjoy it too. I can tell by the smile on your face. That's awesome. It is an incredible business.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's obvious. You can tell you're into it, and you do a great job, and you come out of the gate hot. You had a lot of good experience prior to, but not necessarily the sales part, which is really interesting.
Right.
Administrative, here's how you do it, but you jumped right into it from a sales standpoint, and that's incredibly awesome. So we really want to, I just really thank you for taking your time out today. It was incredibly awesome.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Keep it rocking, and we will talk with you soon. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Briana. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
All righty.